Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another CBT Nuggets webinar. This one focusing in on the brand new CCNA Collaboration, and I'll talk about collaboration in general. So a big hello to a lot of you that only get one-way communication with me for most of the time watching the videos on CBT Nuggets. So I want to first off emphasize what Anthony did. You have the ability to ask questions, so please ask any question you would like, and I will do my best. I see a constant, like a stock ticker, scrolling ticker of the questions, so if I see a good one fly by, I'll answer it if I can on the air, but as I'm sure you can imagine, it's pretty difficult to manage slides, talk, and read questions all at the same time. So if I don't see yours or I don't answer yours, please don't be offended, nothing personal. So CCNA Collaboration, I wanted to do a quick webinar to answer the major questions of this new certification. What's new? Why do you need to know it? Pretty much the what, why, and how behind the certification. So first off, what is CCNA Collaboration? Well, I know many of you, as well as me, got into the voice over IP world. That was actually 2002 when I first got into Cisco Voice, back when it was on Call Manager 2.4. It was called Call Manager back then. And you could actually install it on any box you wanted, a Windows 2000 server back then, which was cutting edge. You could throw it on a Windows XP workstation. I mean, it was a wild time. And that was when it was truly bleeding edge, as in rebooting the server was fixing most problems. Well, here we are 13 years later, and voice over IP is, I don't want to say old news, but now it's kind of a no-brainer. Why would you not do voice over IP outside of the small to medium business market? Because a lot of small, medium business folks don't know much about quality of service or how to set it up correctly. So you still hear a lot of reports, or at least I do, people rolling out voice over IP, and it's choppy audio, and everybody's like, oh, back to the traditional phone system. But nonetheless, for the major companies that do it right, voice is now old news for new buildings. However, voice has kind of done the slow migration. Essentially, if you already have a PBX system, there's not a huge benefit to your organization to move over to voice over IP. It becomes a difficult case to make when you are saying, oh, well, voice over IP is the future, and people go, well, what do you get? And they're like, well, new phones, and you know, it's kind of like, it's cool. It's neat that you're using data connectivity, and I'm sure there's a standard slick of benefits. But when you look at a PBX system that's already paid for versus phones, it hasn't been the killer app. So the reason CCNA Collaboration has come about is because Cisco has decided to merge together two really cool technologies into one, and that's voice and video. These two technologies really are one and the same because they have very common ground in terms of network requirements. As in, they're both real-time, they both run over UDP, they both need quality of service, voice always getting the priority over video, by the way. But both essentially have very similar requirements, voice being very thin amount of bandwidth, video needing a lot more bandwidth. But now today we're kind of at this very unique time because it's like all the moons have aligned. The technology is there, voice, video, but now we see the bandwidth getting there. Matter of fact, I am right now in a city called Monroe City, Missouri. I'm actually on vacation with my family up here in a town that literally the landline here gets 100 kilobit per second internet speed. Which, when I found out I was going to be doing this webinar, I thought, that's not going to work. So I brought a little T-Mobile mobile router up here, and I set it up. Actually, I'll see if I can show it to you later. This thing is amazing. I'm getting, 10 megabit per second symmetric throughput. I mean, up-down speed on this little cellular router. And what that tells you, I'm not just talking about how cool this router is, but what that tells you is the world is now ready. You can get large amounts of bandwidth, or at least decent amounts of bandwidth in order to support video over IP just about anywhere. And video is what I would call a tide-turning technology. And I think CBT Nuggets is probably one of the most applicable that I've seen in recent times. Can I show you something? I want to share with you this new thing that CBT Nuggets got called a beam. This might take a moment to show up on your screen, so it's all right. These are actually little, I guess I could call them robots. I think of them, I don't know if you've seen those little vacuum cleaners. It's kind of like those, except with a monitor on stilts that you can control. It feels like a first-person shooter. As a matter of fact, let me show it to you. So this, I'm actually beaming into their meeting. So actually, this is their meeting. Hello, everybody. Let me actually choose a different beam robot, so I'm not interfering with this group. So let's go downstairs by the elevator. How about that? But the point, there we go. A little more private connection. The point I want to make in this is actually real time. Hang on, I know I'm on my cell phone here, but look at this. I can actually walk this little robot off. That's why I said it feels like a first-person shooter. Roam around the office. I can interact with people. I'm probably going to have to leave this little robot there. Anthony, you'll have to forgive me for leaving the robot in the hallway. But essentially, this is real-time video collaboration. Hang on, let me get back out of this. That you can pick up at extremely moderate pricing. And I consider this the tide-turning technology because how much do people spend to fly employees out to conferences all around the world to have that true collaborative film? Well, video over IP, if it's done well, I'm not talking about, I've got my FaceTime on my iPhone kind of thing. I'm talking about a conference room set up with high-def monitors, real-time collaboration. That's where benefits can really be seen by businesses because you can bring people to the table that you just normally can't do that with. And I know some of you are like, well, yeah, but we've always had conference calling. I'm telling you, there's something lost when you have somebody on a conference call. I mean, you guys know it. You've dialed into a conference call before, and it's like if you're not constantly being referred to, you kind of gloss over. You're surfing the web. You're not there. You're not engaged like you are when you're truly a person at the table, and that's what video over IP really draws out. So, nonetheless, that is what Cisco has put together. They've taken voice, they've taken video, they've put them together into a single certification called CCNA Collaboration. So, why do you want to get it? Well, I personally believe that now is the time. Like I said, I got into voice over IP in 2002, and it's been, I'm not saying voice over IP has been lagging behind. It's been doing really well. I mean, you see it all over the place. And Cisco, if you watch any action-based show on television, you'll see some kind of Cisco IP phone slid slyly in there with, of course, a super big logo on it that typically doesn't come on the phone. They've been putting tons of marketing dollars into bringing video, or I should say voice over IP to the world, and it's happened. However, now it's becoming one of those technologies that there's a real push not to keep your phone system, your old PBX system. And enough time has passed where this technology has proven itself. So this is a unique in-demand skill set. And when I say unique, most network individuals don't know it. And it's a big barrier to entry. I would not have gotten into voice over IP in 2002 if I wasn't told to. I already had my CCIE at that point. I'm like, okay, I'm done, right? Right? I don't have to learn anything new, right? No, they're like, you have to do voice over IP. And I'm like, I don't want to. This is totally new. It's like learning Linux when you know Windows, right? You have to just start over and kind of say, okay, completely new. Let's do it. So most network individuals don't want to get into it, but it is a growing technology, so there's a huge lack of expertise in this. Immediate return on investment for businesses, and you become the internal and external communication hero. This is where you get into cool stuff. With networking, I mean, you're kind of behind the scenes. You may add a new route, you may add redundancy, but nobody knows it, right? Now, if you roll out the Beam application like I just showed you, that is in your face. People are like, wow, that's cool. It becomes one of those like, wow, you're the guy that brings the cool new stuff to the table instead of the behind-the-scenes guy that typically does the route table updates, filtering, and everything else, right, of the network world. So that's why. And I'm sure I could come up with more reasons why, but I would say that's the ones that are in your face. So how do you do it? How do you get CCNA Collaboration certified? Well, first off, there are no prerequisites. However, if you know nothing about Cisco, getting into CCNA Collaboration, it's probably going to be a struggle for you. But let me back up. On the official Cisco website, they do not say you need to have a CCENT or a CCNA routing and switching or anything like that. You can just jump straight in, right? And that's because the voice and video, they are saying in the CCNA Collaboration, you are more of an assistant to a real network engineer. Shouldn't say it that way. It's not like you're not a real network engineer, right? It's just you usually have somebody who's helping you with the network side of things. Can you kind of see where I'm leaning here? If you can get a CCENT or a CCNA routing and switching before you get a CCNA Collaboration, I would totally recommend it. You're just going to feel so much better about what you know when you get those two combined together. But officially, you have 210, how about 210-060 CICD, which is what I would call Welcome to IP Telephony. This is a Manage the Endpoint series, is what I would say. That course from Cisco and that certification exam is really about walking into a call manager environment or Cisco Unified Communication Manager, CUCM, where it's already set up and you're managing the endpoint. There's some basic setup stuff in there, but again, if you read the description about it, they're like, well, you're kind of assisting a senior engineer in that role, right? The big one right below it, 210-065 CIVMD, is the Welcome to Video. This is, I would say, probably where most people's learning curve is what it meant. There's actually a lot of people, or a lot more people, I should say, that know about voice over IP than video. And video introduces its own unique skill sets. It's not just plugging in the camera, right, like you and I do with our cell phones and do a quick video call or on our computers with a webcam. I mean, there's lighting, there's colors that you should pick, there's colors that people should wear, there's colors that they should not wear, there's patterns on clothing that should be avoided. I mean, all this stuff you don't even think about. Like, that's what's in that course. And so it's split into two pieces. You can see I put CIVND1, the boring stuff. And I don't mean to say it that way, but that's kind of, it's like the lima beans, right? You have to know about, we'll just say, color shades of clothing. You have to know about pixels and what a pixel is. And you have to know about resolutions and all those kind of things. That's what's in that introductory series right there. And that one is actually done. I just finished that for CBT Nuggets. I'm not saying that's boring. The reason I say it's the boring stuff, I'm like, don't take that one. No, the reason I say it's the boring stuff is Cisco actually has that online, available as a $350 PDF file. Seriously, they charge you $350 for a PDF file that you can download, and it's kind of the material that I put into that series. So save yourself the $350 and just go to CBT Nuggets and get that series. Underneath is where it gets really fun. That's where you get into the endpoint support and setting up the environment, video phones, video teleconferencing, all those kind of things are included there. So let me just glance through I've been walking around, pacing the room. CBT Nuggets will provide Nugget Lab for this course. Okay, that's I had a feeling. I'm going to take you right here. Labs. Right now, there are a few companies, because CCNA Collaboration is so new, there are just a few companies out there that have the lab equipment. And what I did was I put together, this is like the bare bone minimum. If you want to build a lab to where you can actually set up some equipment in your home and try this out, this is the minimum that I would recommend to get started. And the reason I put this up here is you lose something. And just like when you dial into a conference call, you lose something when you do a remote lab for voice and video. You know why? Because it's remote. And so answering the phone is kind of simulated or sometimes they'll even emulate to where you install like a soft phone that controls a remote phone, and that it's just not the same as actually having a couple phones sitting right next to you. Not saying it's not possible, but I would suggest grabbing that little set of equipment. So that up there, I would say you could probably get for a couple $100 if you eBay shop well. My 3550 inline power switch, Cisco 2801, that's my favorite router of all time, with Manager Express on there, and then the Cisco 7960 phones. Those are the old school phones. And that will allow you to set up a voice and banner. Oh, yeah, by the way, the biggest piece, CUCM software. You can actually get that off of eBay. A lot of times people get the disc set, and it comes with a demo license that lets you get about 20 phones registered in there to try it out. Totally the way to go to get that all set up. So that will let you learn and understand voice. The video is a little bit tougher. I would suggest the Cisco's 9971, which those phones you can get if you shop used well. You can get those for about $100 each. Those are video phones. They're older video phones, but video phones. The newer ones, as you can see, I put you got to sell your house or your car at least if you want to get the other. You got the SX20. What that is that's a video conference unit. You connect it up to an LCD display. It's an HD camera, actually multiple cameras if you set it up the way it's designed with different zoom levels and all that kind of stuff. Guesstimating that, I would say bargain shopping $5,000 to $6,000, $1,000 for an SX20 or more. That would be the cheap version. The one right next to it, the DX650, is an upgraded version of the Cisco 9971. The big thing is it does HD, right? Now, and I'm just glancing at the questions as they fly by. Can I use a 7912 for voice? Totally can. Essentially, a handset and a dial tone is all you need to hear. So I just said 7960 because it lets you do more with the line buttons, the soft keys. You actually can get the on-screen displays instead of the 7912. It's a little more limited. Someone else is asking, can I do the same lab set with a 3650, a 2900? Oh, yeah, totally. If you want to buy bigger, yeah. Or if you already have bigger, yeah. 2801, 3550, those are just, kind of like the sale rack equipment. I always go for cheaper first. So DX650, HD phone. That's the big upgrade it got from the 9971. And then a whole bunch of features that are more related to video. So those, if I had to throw a ballpark, about $1,000 if you were to get the DX650. $1,000 each. So that's why I'm saying sell the house. And then right next to that, that's where you've got the video communication server. You've got the telepresence management suite. I mean, and I just said, that stuff you probably want to rent. So go buy a couple of those 9970 phones so you can do some video conferencing. You can be wowed by its amazingness. But then from there, just rent the other stuff. Or if you Google around that, matter of fact, hang on. Can I say something? Let me show you something. I want to take you, if this works. Share. Choose my application. And I will say Chrome. Share. Hopefully y'all can see that. This is actually the CCNA Collaboration website, right off of the, just Google CCNA Collaboration. It's taking you right here, right? So it shows the exams that you have to get, the courses, official Cisco courses that you should take. And then below it shows all of the resources. You will learn a gob from the people. Study groups. Always go. I mean, if you look at the Cisco officials, it's good. I mean, you can get the exam outline and the topics and all that. The typical. But if you really want to get nitty gritty, head on over to the study group. This is where you get people that are like, where's the material? Where's the equipment for CCNA Collaboration? And everybody's kind of collaborating together. Get it? That they're like, oh, go here. And that you will find some, I actually found some web links on here I didn't know about that has even some free labs that you can get into. And I was like, wow, I didn't know those kind of things. So anyway, I would really suggest checking out the study groups, and you will learn a lot of things you can do I'm leaving it vague. Things you can do to get. Oh my goodness! I still have that beam open. I'm beaming out. To get Collaboration Lab hands-on, right? Good. Rolando is saying, okay, a home lab then. If I go home lab, what about some SIP providers? Who should I use? There are actually one that I use. What was it? VoIP.ms, I think, to where you can actually get a SIP trunk to them for free, and you only pay for what you use. So if you actually make calls, you pay like a penny a minute kind of thing to make calls anywhere in the world. But that would be a great one to get some SIP trunk providers. Oh, Anthony has marked some questions. Thanks, Anthony. So CCNP voice, quality of service doesn't have correspondence with the new exam. Quality of service, yes. Question is, there is no quality of service exam in the new CCNP, CCNA Collaboration. What's up with that? It's actually, quality of service is now considered a routing and switching thing. You will see it mentioned in a lot of the collaboration series saying, of course, this is a requirement, but two things. One, it is actually more routing and switching oriented, but two, Cisco has automated the heck out of quality of service, right? Auto QoS is now their recommended template form of moving forward with quality of service because it has that consistency feel. You can consistify your whole environment by using things like Auto QoS and so on. So that's the story there. Second question from Randy. When are the CICD and CIVND2 videos being released at CBT Nuggets? Soon, as soon as I can. I actually, because there was a gap in the material, I jumped into the Arch series, which is going to be awesome for design. It's a CCDP certification that I'm recording right now. So as soon as I finish Arch, I'm going to jump right back in, and I'm going to pick up first with I forgot the name of the series. Too many acronyms. The CIVND2 is going to be where I start back up because I've already got one recorded. I'm actually working on the slides for that right now. So when I can't give you a date. I would say within the next three months or so. Depends on how fast I talk. CCIE collaboration being the goal. What study material would you recommend? So I was asking that question. Honestly, I have not gone CCNA Collaboration. I haven't set my vision on that so far. If you were going to go far, honestly, I would make the investments. There's something to be gained by having the video equipment with you. So when I said, sell the house, do it. if you're actually going for CCIE Collaboration, it's the same thing when I was working with CCIE routing and switching when I first got that. You just got to bite the bullet and kind of take the lead. So with voice and video, having the equipment there, there's no replacing it. Rack rental, I think I already answered that one, Angel. Where would you get rack rental for CCIE Collaboration today, CCNP? Expert, I know, has some rack rentals. NIL is starting to get into that world of rack rentals for that. But outside of that, I'm scared to recommend because I don't want to point you in the direction of somebody that just turns out to be really bad. Bosan also has some rack rentals. I know, Bosan, jumping into that business. And then, a couple really long questions. At the moment, I'm being prepared for, suppose I managed it, what will happen? Okay, so question is, what if I passed one exam? How long do I have and all that? Okay, so Cisco exam expiration policy, you got 3 years. So pass an exam, you got 3 years to take another exam and pass, which will renew the current exam you've got. 3 more years. But if you're waiting 3 years between exams, it's too long. The certification will probably retire by the time you finish the track, right? Just like the voice over IP certification is retiring. Are there learning partners around the world already offering collaboration training? Good question. So there are Cisco learning partners offering it, but because there's only a couple of them, it is a premium. I'm actually enrolled in one of them right now. $5,000 for the week of training to do that remote, and that's not even going to a physical classroom. So right now there's so few, it's so new, so few that the price is very high to actually get the learning partner certification. Does this relate in any way to CCNA Voice 64461 exam? That exam is actually fading away. Voice and video certifications are gone. Collaboration is one to stay. If you're already a CCNA Voice, can you jump into CCNP Collaboration, or do you have to get CCNA Collaboration first? So that is a great question. If you already have CCNA Voice, Cisco has a migration tool on their website. You cannot jump straight into CCNP Collaboration because there's a whole bunch of video stuff you have to learn to get CCNA Collaboration certified, right? So you got to fill that in. So go to the migration tool. I think you can skip the first exam, but you have to take the second exam if you've already got that. So I think that's all the questions I saw flagged. Good. This is good. A lot of great questions that have been asked. So I'm still learning on the CCNA and CCNP collaboration. Like I said, I'm actually in one of those $5,000 courses right now to beef up my knowledge on video. Video is my weakness. I've done it plenty of times, but I've just never gotten the intricacies that you need for the exam. So this one is new for all of us. So by the time the course comes out, it's going to be awesome because it will be packed full of information on all regards. So with that being said, if you have any other questions, like the two that I just saw, I'll hit these two questions and then we'll wrap up. Jesus is saying, I have a CCNA and now I'm studying for CCNP 300-101. With no experience in the real world, which one do you recommend first, CCNP or CCNA Collaboration? Jesus, that would probably be, I've already got a CCNA, now studying for CCNP. With no experience in the real world, which one would you go? I would finish your CCNP. I had to think twice about that. I would finish your CCNP, Jesus, if you're going for that first, and then come back to the CCNA Collaboration. The reason why is there's literally no material out there for it at all right now. And so you're going to spend a lot of time putting together material from different sources, which you're probably going to spend at least 3/4 of your study time doing that, whereas the CCNP routing and switching already has a ton of stuff out there. So that'll focus your time and energy. Last question. Angel is saying, in your opinion, which has more value, CCIE routing and switching or CCIE collaboration? Which one has more market value? I would honestly say CCIE right now. CCIE. I'm like, well, yeah, I could make an argument for both directions, but I would say CCIE routing and switching. Why? Because everybody has a network. Right? You know where I'm going with that? Everybody has a network. Not everybody has a voice over IP and video collaboration system yet. But that's where I was debating myself. But the CCIE collaboration individual would likely net a higher rate because there are far less of those than there are CCIE routing and switching. So it may even out in the end. So really go after where is your passion lie. Is it in the routing and switching world, or is it in the voice and video world? And follow your path. It can be what you're best at. All right, Anthony, I don't see any more questions in there, so I will hand it back over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeremy. Everyone, thanks for spending some time with us today. We just want to quickly remind you that a recording of this webinar will be posted to our blog, blog.cbtnuggets.com, later this week. Thanks so much for joining us, and have a wonderful rest of your week.